Muchos thank you.
Muchos thank you for watching Hot Stove. We, all week, have been presented proudly by the United States Marine Corps. Made it through a week, second week of the show. Ron Darling in for Harold, who is, I guess Harold is in transit back from Vegas after the All-MLB show last night.
But Harold is a good egg. He doesn't partake. He's not staying up too late or gambling all night long. He's not that kind of dude.
No, he's not. Harold's smart because he goes off on his own.
There you go.
And then whatever chicanery happens, he is not privy to it at all and can claim properly that he was not a part of it.
In our day, we used to call it being in the weeds. So he's in the weeds.
In the weeds.
Yeah.
Right. I like that. We got a lot to get to today. JP Morosi once again from Taiwan, from the big tournament out there. And I think there's a game wrapping up as we speak, so he'll have a live report. We're going to go into the Hot Stove record store. We've got Roger McDowell calling into the program, your former teammate, which is great. We hope to hear from Christopher Russo, who's in an airport also in transit to and from some destination we're unaware of. And there's, of course, a big recap coming from last night's All-MLB award show. So while you were watching something else, maybe you were watching the Eagles-Commanders game, but if you were like us, you were locked in on this second annual All-MLB presentation from Las Vegas with all the star power. Candelita sang. Mookie Betts was there. Blue Man Group, awards presented, and we'll go through it all for you in case you missed any of the proceedings. So congratulations to the first team All-MLB recipients. This we pulled off social media, obviously, from MLB.com. Pitchers and hitters first representing the American and National Leagues. First team. This is the first team group. Here's the second team group. It's really weird when you see names like Bryce Harper, Francisco Lindor not with first-team honors, but you get it. Like, these are the best of the best of the best. And congratulations to everybody who won an award last night.
Well, considering how the schedule is, it should be more like this, right? Everyone plays everyone nowadays, as opposed to the day when the National League and American League were so separate.
Yeah, that's true. You know, at catcher, Salvador Perez was second-team honoree there. I think, like, as an exercise, you could go back on the first and second teamers that we learned of last night and try to guess about their Hall of Fame candidacy. Like, there's certain guys who are locks. Right. I think Sal Perez is a lock. I think Bryce Harper's a lock. I think Manny Machado's, like, those guys are easy ones to identify. Mookie Betts, like, you can make a case for more than half the names last night being future Hall of Famers.
When I think of Salvador Perez and his long career now, you know what's interesting is that when he first started, he was defense first, kind of see if his bat was going to, be enough someday, and now he's as good of offensive players as anyone in the game.
And for that big-bodied dude to has played as long as he has.
And every day.
And post up every day.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You know who really posted up last night? And, watching this was a lot of fun because Roy Wood Jr., who hosted, he was the MC, he had amazing material last night. It's not an easy thing to write and deliver material for a niche audience, right? He had to create baseball content. You couldn't go to race, gender, profanity, like all the stuff that stand-up comics find for a laugh. Couldn't do any of that stuff.
I mean, unless players have completely changed from when I played, these are the guys that worked so hard to be a ball player because they didn't want to pay attention. You know what I mean? And now you put them all in one room, and you have this brilliance of Wood.
Yeah, and he nailed it with all these constraints on him, right? I mean, it's not easy to deliver that way. You couldn't work even remotely blue last night, and he was great. So take a listen to some of Roy's stuff last night.
The Dodgers are hands down one of the most unhateable teams of all time. I don't know how you could hate this team. All they did was smile. Everybody was smiling. Freddie Freeman was smiling. He only had one good foot. Shohei was smiling. He only had one good shoulder. Mookie was smiling. He almost only had one hand. You just can't hate him. You got to love him. And Mookie Betts is in the building tonight. Give it up for Mookie Betts, an incredible athlete. An incredible athlete. He can play infield. He can play outfield. The brother can dunk. The brother can bowl. I don't know if y'all knew this about Mookie. He is the only person in this room that has bowled a perfect game. That is true. He has bowled a perfect game. You can clap for that. Yeah, a perfect game. 12 strikes. 12 strikes right down the middle, which was also the Yankees' approach to pitching Freddie Freeman.
I mean, that's such good material.
That's a great line. That's a great line.
Audience, man. What would they do? I mean, you got to laugh. You got to give the guy, yeah, come on. This is good stuff. And they're,
I mean, I know the late...
They freaking hand out lithium when they entered?
The late, great Norm Macdonald would have never been able to get through this crowd. No chance. And Roy was great last night. I listened as well, and I was really laughing. But I think that what happens with ball players is that they're a little paranoid when they mention their name, that they're coming at me, and what are they going to say? And then once they figure out it's not too bad, then they laugh, which is too late to laugh. You have to laugh.
You know what? I think that's a good take. And like a lot of invited guests probably felt like it was an award show, so you had to be proper and you had to sit there. But man, he deserved more from that audience, and he was great. So when you watch it on tape like we did.
So here we are in Tamshui, Taiwan, near the campus of Aletheia University on a beautiful day, and look what we have found. A baseball practice. This is at the terminus of the Red Line on the Taipei Metro. We have gone as far as we can go. We're near an estuary that goes into the Taiwan Strait. This is the far northwest corner of Taiwan, and we have found a baseball practice. I love this.
What's he doing out there?
Because he's a fool, that's why.
No, Ronnie. It's because he loves his craft. JP Morosi from Taiwan. Looks like you've actually toweled off since you filed that report, JP. Good evening to you.
Good evening. Konbanwa, I would say, based on the winning team tonight with Team Japan. And just by way of background, and Ronnie and Matt, you could both appreciate this. That team that was practicing there in Tamshui, the district in the far northwest part of the island of Taiwan, they were working on first and third drills, which is just one of the most essential things that any youth baseball team has ever worked on. And I went to literally the edge of the country, and that is what I saw.
Fundamentals. We'll get that tape out to Buck Showalter immediately for approval. Hey, let's ask you about the game that you just got through watching, Japan and Korea. How'd it go down?
Japan wins 6-3, their sixth straight win over Korea at the senior men's level, including the Premier 12, WBC, and Olympics. And the man that a lot of scouts came here to see tonight, he delivered. Hiroto Takahashi. He struck out the man, Do Young Kim, who seemed to never make an out during this tournament. But look at this. This was early on in the game. And Takahashi has gotten a lot of comparisons to his good friend, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Here was the home run by Shota Morishita that put Japan ahead. But to make the point about Takahashi, he actually revamped his mechanics last winter to look even more like Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Probably a smart thing considering Yamamoto signed with the Dodgers for $325 million. So clearly that play is in America. Well, we saw it, of course, in the World Series. But he delivered 8 strikeouts and 0 walks. And for the night, we talk about why Samurai Japan always wins these big international tournaments. How about this, Ronnie? 17 strikeouts for Japan, 0 walks issued. 17 to 0. Meanwhile, I'll take myself to this story. You mentioned Team USA going to break. Team USA is going to meet me in Tokyo for the Super Round because the Americans have made it, and they went to 43-year-old Rich Hill to start the game that found Team USA past Team Mexico. How about this? Look at Rich Hill's numbers in that crucial game. 3 1/3 innings, 0 earned runs. He started twice, and don't you love this? In this era of innings restrictions and can you start on regular rest, Rich Hill says, I'm 43. Give me the ball. And he's a free agent, by the way. I think some teams are looking at him for 2025, but right now he's most concerned with winning a gold medal for Team USA with some help for some players on the younger side of the age curve. How about this? Tamar Johnson, graduate of the MLB Develops program, a first-round pick of the Pittsburgh Pirates. This home run in Guadalajara put Team USA ahead to stay. So we talked about Matt Shaw of the Cubs earlier on in the tournament. Tamar Johnson, along with the veteran Rich Hill, has put Team USA along with Team Venezuela into the final round. So it's 4 teams that make it total. 2 from the group in Mexico, which are the U.S. and Venezuela, and 2 from this group here in Taipei. Right now, Japan is 2-0. Chinese Taipei is 2-0. So they have the edge now entering the weekend.
Good stuff. We appreciate the updates on all this stuff. And let's hit you with what's happening on the free agent market. And I'm going to list off 3 players who are big-ticket items and who I believe you have at least some bits of update on each. And in order, Willy Adames, Walker Buehler, Christian Walker. Go.
All right. I'm ready with updates. Here we go. Willy Adames, interest in him is very broad. There's a number of teams that love him at shortstop, and why wouldn't you? But also some that might consider him in a different position. We could see the Dodgers, the Giants, the Yankees, the Astros, if they don't re-sign Bregman. I love that idea, by the way. You put Adames potentially at third, Pena at short, Altuve at second. I would love that infield. The Braves are involved, I'm told, the Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays, who we know, we've heard plenty about their link to Juan Soto. They want to get a major free agent. Now, I just talked about potentially the Braves being involved in Adames. They also have some interest, I'm told, in Walker Buehler. Think about their pitching staff right now. Max Fried, free agent. Charlie Morton, free agent. Spencer Strider still coming back from elbow surgery. So for all these reasons, Walker Buehler, who we just saw shining in the postseason, the Braves are close to home for him. Of course, he's got the Kentucky roots. He pitched at Vanderbilt. It's a nice fit for him. I'd also mention the Chicago Cubs being a possibility for Walker Buehler. They're, of course, the final pitch of the World Series at Yankee Stadium. And then you consider as well the other possibility. We talked about Christian Walker. I like him as a possibility for the aforementioned Yankees, whether or not they re-sign Juan Soto. And I think in some ways, Matt and Ron, there is even broader interest right now in Christian Walker relative to Pete Alonso, because the contract's going to be probably fewer total dollars and fewer years. He's also an elite Gold Glove defender at first base. And so if let's say Juan Soto signs with the New York Yankees, or even, let's say, if Pete Alonso signs elsewhere, I could see the Mets pivoting and loving it, the fact that they could potentially get Christian Walker. Look at those numbers. 26 homers, 84 RBI. In terms of an elite-level defender in his early to mid-30s, he is one of the better corner infield defenders that we have seen in the game in recent years. And I would actually add the Seattle Mariners to that list, too. They thought that maybe Mitch Garver was the answer for them at first base. Carlos Santana's got a pretty good resume in free agency right now as well. He wants to play still another couple seasons at least. So while we focus a lot on Pete Alonso, some good options are out there if you want to look elsewhere.
You know, JP, we ask so much of you.
Year guy, but he signed as a free agent in LA, so there wasn't like they gave up a haul to get him there.
I guess for this exercise, I really want these people to move. So another run with the wind, and I think the team that I'm looking at, because they love depth of lineup, is the Atlanta Braves. I think that he would fit there as Acuna and Teoscar Hernandez, and of course Austin Riley at third base. Those are your 3 right-handed bats, your 3 left-handed bats. The switch hitter Albies, of course, Harris, who plays center field, and Matt Olson. So 2/3 of your lineup would be evenly distributed by the talented right-handers and left-handers. The depth of lineup, I haven't even talked about Sean Murphy, who's going to be catching for them. That gives them quite a lineup to go into next season.
We didn't put Anthony Santander on this list of whether the player is coming or going, because we're hoping he stays in Baltimore. Yeah. But if he leaves, Baltimore is very much in play for Teoscar Hernandez as well.
Yes, absolutely. You know, the problem with Teoscar is that if you were a right-handed bat, would you go to Baltimore?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Not now.
Yeah.
It would have been 1987.
Yeah,
a whole another story. All right, welcome into the Hot Stove Record Store, and this is a segment that we've...
All right, the next one here, guys, Shohei Ohtani. It seemed like a ridiculous question just a year ago. Will he join the 200 club this year, which would make him the 2nd fastest player to that total? He basically would have to replicate his stolen base total from last year to do this, guys. My question before we get to the actual question at hand with Ohtani, do we know who the first player on this list is? The fastest ever to 200. If Ohtani did it this year, it would be the only player faster than Shohei.
Debuted in 1999.
Wow.
That goofs me up a little
Debuted
bit.
in this market. That'll give you a little clue.
Debuted in this market in 1999.
Later played for the Cubs and Nationals.
Alfonso Soriano.
Alfonso Soriano, if
There you go.
Ohtani was to do it this year, would be the only player to get to these numbers faster. So like I said, guys, 55 stolen bases for Ohtani would get him there. Can he replicate his base stealing total from this past season?
That's a great board and a really great threshold. I'm going to say no, because if he's pitching again next year, he better not be running as much. And I also think this. Ohtani's a kind of been there, done that brain. He wanted to be the first one to get this 50-50. He put up this massive, gargantuan season. If he's pitching again next year, it changes the calculus, and I sure hope he's not running as much.
Yeah, I don't think he's running as much either. It's hard to bet against him because every time you do, he hits the mark. But I don't think he's going to reach that mark. But knowing the player that Shohei is, he's probably aiming for MVP and Cy Young in the same season.
Yeah, I think that's totally in play. Keith, that's good stuff, man. We appreciate the work you did on the record store stuff, scratching at that and finding the right stuff to talk about.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, because we got to go. Because you know why? We got somebody lined up next.
MLB の世界は毎年新たなドラマとともに私たちを驚かせてくれますね。今年のオフシーズンも例外ではなく、フアン・ソトやピート・アロンソ、ネイサン・エボルディといったスター選手たちの移籍先がどこになるのか、私たちファンをワクワクさせています。彼らが新しいユニフォームを着て、どのような活躍を見せるのか、今から期待が膨らむばかりです。特にフアン・ソトのような圧倒的な存在感を持つ選手が、次にどのチームの一員としてプレーするのかは注目せざるを得ません。ヤンキース、メッツ、さらには意外なところでボルチモア、オリオールズなど各チームの動きがどのような結果を生むのか、オフシーズンのニュースから目が離せませんね。さらに日本の侍ジャパンが再び国際大会でその圧倒的な実力を見せつけたことも私たちに大きな感動を与えてくれました。ヒロと高橋が見せた見事な投球、そして彼の吉信、山本との比較は、彼の未来がいかに明るいかを示しています。特に彼が自身の投球メカニクスを改良し、山本を模範とした点は非常に興味深いです。結果として彼は今大会で17奪三振無四球という完璧なピッチングを披露しました。このようなパフォーマンスが侍ジャパンがなぜ常に国際大会で優勝候補とされるのかを裏付けていますね。また MLB のオフシーズンでの動きも引き続き注目の敵です。クリーブランドガーディアンズではシェーン・ビーバーの復帰やスティーブン・クワンのさらなる成長に期待が寄せられています。シェーン・ビーバーがトミー・ジョン手術から順調に回復し、再びエースとしてチームを牽引する姿を思い描くだけで、ガーディアンズファンの心は熱くなりますね。そして、スティーブン・クワンは攻撃力と守備力の両面で、さらなる進化を遂げ、チームの未来を明るく照らす重要な存在となっています。彼のような若手選手の成長が、チーム全体にどのような影響を与えるのかは見逃せません。翔平・大谷もまた特別な存在感を放っています。来シーズン、二刀流でのプレーを再び見せてくれる可能性があり、その一挙手一投足が大きな注目を集めることでしょう。200クラブの達成が期待されていますが、同時に彼のような選手がチームやリーグ全体に与える影響は計り知れません。彼のような選手がフィールドに立つことで、MLB 全体が一層盛り上がることは間違いありません。ファンとして、彼が再び記録的なシーズンを送る姿を目の当たりにできることを楽しみにしています。そして、このようなニュースが次々と飛び込む中で、皆さんはどの選手やチームに注目していますか？ 特に MLB の選手移籍や若手の台頭、さらには国際大会での日本選手たちの活躍など、皆さんのお気に入りの話題について、ぜひコメント欄で教えてください。皆さんの意見や感想を読むのを楽しみにしています。また、このチャンネルを気に入っていただけたら、いいねとチャンネル登録を忘れずにお願いします。これからも最新の MLB ニュースやハイライトをお届けしていきますので、ぜひ楽しみにしていてください。MLB の魅力は、単なる競技の枠を超え、ドラマや感動を提供してくれるところにあります。選手たちの努力、チーム間の熾烈な競争、そして予想を超えた展開など、そのすべてが私たちファンにとっての楽しみです。このシーズンオフの間も、興奮と期待を共有しながら、次のシーズンへの準備を楽しんでいきましょう。一緒に MLB の世界をさらに盛り上げていきましょう。